My name is Yusuf Kareem, and I was 34 years old when this whole story started. The day that changed everything was March 12, 2018. On that day, someone handed me a small Bible and simply told me that the words inside helped him find peace during a very difficult time. He revealed to me that these same words could help anyone who was searching for truth. I did not expect that a simple moment like that would open a door I was not prepared to walk through. I grew up in a very close community where everyone knew everyone. From childhood, I was trained to follow our traditions strictly. My father was respected, and from the time I could remember, he wanted me to grow in knowledge and discipline. By the time I was a teenager, my teachers often told my parents that I had a strong memory and a calm mind. Because of this, I was encouraged to study deeply, and soon I became an imam, a leader who guided others in prayer, learning, and daily issues. My life looked peaceful from the outside. People trusted me, and many young boys looked up to me, hoping to learn the way I lived. But on the inside, I sometimes felt a quiet emptiness. It wasn't loud or strong, just a gentle whisper that made me feel like something was missing. I tried to ignore it because in our world, asking the wrong questions could bring trouble. So I buried those feelings deep inside and continued living the life expected of me. But on that March day, curiosity found me again. When the man gave me the Bible, I felt something move inside me. I wanted to reject it immediately, but I couldn't. Instead, when no one was watching, I slipped it into my bag and carried it home with mixed emotions. That night, in my small study room, I stared at it for a long time. I felt fear, not because the book was dangerous on its own, but because of what it represented in my community. Holding it could bring serious consequences. Still, something in my heart pushed me to open it. It felt like someone gently showed me a door that I had never opened before. When I finally read the first few lines, a strange calmness filled me. It wasn't loud or dramatic. It wasn't a dream or a voice. It was like a soft light entered a dark corner of my heart. I felt peace, and at the same time confusion, as if something hidden for many years was finally coming to the surface. I didn't know that reading those few pages would soon bring suspicion, pressure, and emotional pain. I didn't know that people I trusted would soon treat me differently. I didn't know that my quiet, structured life was about to be shaken in ways I could not escape. But in that moment, sitting alone in that room, I only understood one thing. I had read something that touched me deeply, and I could not pretend it meant nothing to me. After the first night of reading, I tried to continue my normal life as an imam. I led prayers, taught the younger boys, and visited families who needed guidance. But inside me, something had shifted. I kept hearing a gentle feeling in my heart, reminding me of the peace I felt when I read those few verses. Every time I remembered it, I felt both comfort and fear. I began reading the Bible late at night, always alone, always quietly. I would close the windows so no sound would escape. I would hide the book under my mat whenever I heard footsteps outside. My heart would beat fast even if a bird landed on the roof. That is how much fear lived inside me. Fear of being discovered, fear of the questions people would ask, fear of how they would look at me. And then it happened. One morning, as I entered the prayer ground, I noticed something different. A few men stood watching me more closely than usual. Their eyes followed me in a quiet, sharp way. It felt strange, but I tried to ignore it. But during the day, more people whispered around me. When I walked into a room, silence fell too quickly. When I greeted people, some turned their faces away. That evening, one of the older men in the community approached me. Instead of speaking normally, he He came closer and told me in a low tone that some people believed I was reading forbidden books. He told me that this rumor was growing fast and that many were becoming angry. He revealed to me that some were already questioning my loyalty to the faith. My heart dropped. It felt like someone had removed the ground under my feet. I went home that night shaken. I kept asking myself how anyone found out. I had been careful, very careful. I hid the book well. I read only at night. I never spoke about it. Yet someone must have seen something. Someone must have heard a hint, noticed a change, or guessed from the way I had been acting. Fear began to eat at me like a slow fire. Days later, the pressure grew worse. Whenever I walked through the streets, people watched me with cold eyes. Some refused to greet me. A few mothers quietly pulled their children away when I came near. It felt like my entire world was turning its back on me, one person at a time. I tried to stay strong, but inside me, everything was shaking. I felt like someone trapped between two walls, one side pushing me with tradition and expectation, the other side pulling me softly with the peace I had found. I didn't know which direction would save me or destroy me. One afternoon, I returned home to find my father sitting outside with a heavy look on his face. He didn't shout, but he told me that he had heard terrible things. He told me that the community believed I was changing. He said people were already asking him painful questions about me. He revealed to me that if I didn't stop whatever they believed I was doing, the consequences would be serious, not only for me, but for our entire family. Hearing this hurt me deeply. I loved my family. I respected them. I never wanted to bring shame or pain to them. But I also couldn't deny the quiet truth growing inside me. I couldn't erase the peace I had felt that night. That night, I cried for the first time in many years. Not loud cries, just silent tears that rolled down while I sat in the dark. I felt alone, cornered, and confused. I asked myself if I should stop reading. I asked myself if I should burn the book and pretend nothing happened. But every time I tried to convince myself, my heart felt heavy, like I was walking away from something true. As the days passed, the persecution grew stronger. People watched my house. Some followed me when I walked in town. Others whispered that I was no longer fit to lead. I could feel the community slowly closing in on me like a tightening circle. Every step I took, every breath I drew felt like walking on thin ice. I did not know these moments were only the beginning of a much deeper storm, one that would push me to the very edge of life itself. But even in the middle of the fear, there was something inside me that refused to disappear, like a small flame that kept burning even though the wind was strong. That small flame was the reason I kept going, and it would soon lead me into a trial I never imagined. It started early in the morning. I had barely opened my eyes when I heard heavy footsteps outside my home. At first, I thought it was just neighbors passing by, but the sound didn't fade. It grew louder, stronger, closer. Something inside me tightened. I knew deep down that the moment I had been silently afraid of was finally here. When I stepped outside, a group of men stood waiting. Their faces were stern and cold. They didn't greet me like they used to. They didn't look at me with respect anymore. They simply watched me as if I had become someone dangerous. One of them walked toward me and told me that the community had made a decision. He said people believed I had betrayed everything I once stood for. He revealed to me that they wanted answers from my own mouth. My legs felt weak, but I followed them because refusing would only make things worse. As we walked through the village, people stepped out of their homes to stare. Some shook their heads with disappointment, others whispered quietly. Children I once taught looked at me with confusion and fear. It felt like the whole world had turned against me. They led me to a large room where the elders of the community were seated. I had stood in that room many times before as a leader, but this time I was brought in like someone who had done something unforgivable. My father was there too, but he couldn't even meet my eyes. Seeing him like that cut deeper than any words could. The eldest man looked at me with a heavy face. He told me that the people believed I had been reading forbidden scripture. He claimed they had seen changes in me, changes they didn't trust. He said my actions had planted fear in the hearts of the community. He revealed to me that this kind of suspicion could not be ignored. They questioned me again and again. They watched every move I made, every breath I took. I felt like a prisoner, even though there were no chains on my hands. I could feel sweat on my palms, my heartbeat running fast, my mind spinning. I wanted to speak, but my voice felt locked inside my chest. I felt trapped between truth and survival. When they finished questioning me, they took me to a small room and shut the door. They told me I would stay there until they decided what to do with me. The room was cold and bare. The air felt heavy. I could hear people talking outside, their voices low and angry. I sat on the floor, hugging my knees, trying to steady my breathing. Hours passed slowly, like days squeezed into minutes. I kept thinking about my family, my childhood, my years of serving the community. Now it all felt distant, like it belonged to someone else. My heart was full of fear, confusion, and sadness. I asked myself again and again if I had made a mistake by reading that Bible. But each time I asked, something inside me whispered that what I found there was real, gentle, and true. Later that night, one of the guards came into the room. He didn't look angry like the others. He told me quietly that the leaders were planning something serious for me. He revealed to me that many people wanted me punished as an example to others. His voice trembled as he told me that the situation had grown beyond simple questioning. Hearing this made my chest feel tight, my stomach twist, my heart sink. I couldn't sleep at all. I sat awake, listening to every sound outside the door. My own thoughts were loud enough to keep me awake. I felt like someone standing on the edge of a cliff, waiting for a push. Every part of me wanted to run, hide, disappear, but I had nowhere to go. I was trapped. The next morning, they came again. This time their faces were harder, their eyes colder. They told me that the final decision had been made. They revealed to me that my actions were seen as a betrayal and my punishment would be severe. My whole body trembled. My world felt like it was crashing down. I felt helpless, small, and alone. Everything around me became blurry with fear. All I could do was breathe slowly and hope for a miracle. I didn't know that the darkest moment of my life was just ahead. I didn't know that my time was running out. I didn't know that I was stepping into the deepest valley of my story, a valley where only a miracle could save me. The morning was strangely quiet. The air felt heavy, like it was carrying a warning. When the guards opened the door, I felt cold air rush into the room. They looked at me with the same hard eyes, the same anger, the same judgment. One of them told me that the community had agreed on a punishment they saw as the only way to deal with someone like me. He revealed to me that people believed I had turned away from everything I once taught. As they led me out, I noticed the sky was cloudy, almost dark. It felt like even the weather understood the fear inside me. We walked through narrow paths I had walked all my life, but this time every step felt heavier. I could see people watching from their doorways. Some looked disappointed, others looked angry, many looked afraid of even being seen near me. It felt like I was walking through my own memories, but everything had changed. My legs felt weak, My hands were shaking. My heart was beating so fast that I felt it in my neck. I whispered inside myself, asking for strength because I had none left. I was just a man walking towards something I could not control. When we reached the open ground, I stood there feeling small and helpless. The leaders stood in front of me. Their faces were serious. One of them stepped closer and told me that my actions had placed me in a position where they could no longer protect me. He said the community believed I had betrayed my faith and misled others. He revealed to me that the punishment I was facing was meant to be a warning to anyone who tried to take the path I had taken. Hearing this made my chest tighten. It felt like all the air around me disappeared for a moment. I thought about my family, my mother's smile, my father's pride, the children who once ran to greet me after lessons. I wondered if I would ever see any of them again. They moved closer around me. I felt trapped, surrounded, and alone. I closed my eyes for a moment because I didn't want tears to fall in front of them. I wanted to stay strong, even though everything inside me was breaking. In that moment, I honestly thought it was the end for me. There was nothing else I could do. I had no power, no voice, no help. And that was when something happened, something I never expected. Just when fear reached its highest point, one of the leaders suddenly stepped forward and raised his hand for everyone to stop. His voice was firm, but I could tell there was something different about him. He told the others that he had been thinking deeply since the night before. He revealed to them that he felt a strong warning in his heart, something he could not explain. It was like he had been shown that what they planned to do would bring danger upon all of them. The others looked confused, some looked frustrated, but they listened. Another man then spoke. He said he felt uneasy about the decision. He revealed that he couldn't sleep at night because something kept troubling him about going through with the punishment. More men began whispering to each other. I could see their anger turning into uncertainty, their confidence turning into fear. I stood there trembling, not knowing what would happen next. The leader finally turned to me and told me that a new decision had been made. He revealed to me that instead of carrying out the punishment, they had chosen to release me, but only if I agreed to leave the community immediately. I felt my knees weaken. My heart flooded with relief and confusion at the same time. It felt unreal, like waking up from a terrible dream. I nodded quickly, still shaking. I didn't understand why they suddenly changed their minds, but I knew something greater than them had stepped into that moment. They walked me away from the crowd and told me to never return. My feet felt light and heavy at the same time as I walked out of the town. Light because I was alive, heavy because I was leaving everything I had ever known. As I reached the edge of the village, I looked back one more time. The place where I grew up, the place where I prayed, the place where I almost lost everything. My heart felt broken, but at the same time, I felt a deep and quiet peace inside me. I understood, finally, that the one who saved me in that moment had a plan for me beyond those walls. I walked into my new life with nothing but hope, faith, and the memory of how close I came to losing everything because I followed the truth I found. And I have never turned back since. Please remember to pray every day for believers around the world who face danger, pressure, rejection, and suffering because of their faith. Many are standing strong even when they feel alone. Your prayers can strengthen someone who is crying right now, afraid right now, or hiding right now. If you want to repent and begin a new life with God, you can talk to Him in a simple way like this. God, I come to you today. I ask for forgiveness for my sins. I want a new heart and a new life. I believe you can change me and guide me. Please help me to follow you from today. Amen. If you prayed this sincerely, your journey has begun, and you are not alone.